Yo, welcome to the very first episode of The Platform. Now, for those who don't know what The Platform is an educational platform where I will be teaching you all about high school history. I'm going to be teaching you the ins and outs, the fundamentals, the basics, all you need to know for you to get into an exam and get out of there with a distinction or a really good mark, just to improve your marks. So stay tuned for all of that great stuff. Before we go any further, I just want to remind you that you need to subscribe and share in order for other students who are interested in this very same topics that we're doing here to find the video much more easier. Without any further ado, I'm gonna get into what we're gonna be doing today. Let's do this. So this video serves to tell you about what you should expect in the next couple of videos to come. The first few videos, I'm going to be teaching you the general stuff. So all of you who are studying history, whether you're in grade 10, 11, or 12, can watch this video. What's going to be happening in the next few videos is that I'm going to start by teaching you source-based, how to respond to source-based questions and what to do when you are encountering a source-based question. Secondly, I'm going to go into essay questions. Now, these first two videos are going to be on source-based questions, part 1 and part 2. Part 1 is just going to focus more on the small little things that you come across in source-based questions that I've seen many students make mistakes on and therefore lose many marks. I think without any further ado, ladies and gentlemen, please take out your books. Now, as I said earlier on when I was introducing you to this video, I said many people commit many mistakes, and as a result of that, they lose a whole lot of marks in their source-based questions, of which this video is going to help you avoid those things, and I hope I can achieve this in the very few minutes that I have with you. The source-based questions are very simple. They are very easy, and that's where you can get most marks and easily pass the subject of history. I've seen many people commit mistakes, and this is what I want us to get out of the way so that you can pass the subject. First and foremost, you need to look carefully at what the question is asking you to do. The question has keywords that tell you what to do. Sometimes it's a question, sometimes it's an instruction. You need to know whether this is an instruction telling you to do this, or it's a question requiring of you to simply say this. You understand? It's not that difficult. It's not that hard, really. Cool. So I've gathered up a few questions that you and I are going to be looking at in this video. First off, we're going to be looking at the word comment, and then we might also focus on comparing sources and also look at a paragraph question, which probably will be in the next section of the video. Now, before we go any further, I want to remind you that the source-based questions are a list of questions that which you need to answer in order for you to attain the 50 marks, obviously. And then the essay is one long question which you need to respond to with a whole lot of other responses, compiling your analysis and your own opinion, and also base it on real evidence that exists. Now, with source-based questions, what learners do not know is that there are 15 questions by default. In fact, not questions, but 15 marks that are easily picked up that you can easily get so that you pass your test from the get-go. So once you take your source-based questions, that 15 marks is very simple. All they require of you is to simply define a word, give a definition of this word, or explain that, or pick from the sources, pick it up and put it in your book. It's as simple as that, right? So the source-based is a really nice thing to use for you to pass the exam first and foremost. From then onwards, you come across certain questions that require of you to answer and get 4 marks. And that's where the mistakes lie most of the time. Sometimes it says 2 times 2. That means 2 responses, 2 marks each. So in your answer, you don't give us one big fat answer paragraph. No, you give us 2 responses and then you get 2 marks. If you give us one big fat response, you are only going to get 2 big fat marks and you lose the other marks. You understand? So you need to be able to answer twice in order for you to be marked twice. I'm sure that's clear, right? That's the one thing I wanted to get out of the way. Secondly, when you are responding to your question, you need to look at what the question is asking of you. Is it saying define? If it says define, then define the word. If it says explain, explain. If it says list, then go and list. Do not explain further unless it says explain further. Do you understand? Do not just simply do things and ignore the instruction. Cool. For this episode, I've decided to come up with a few questions for us to work on. All of us in grade 10, 11, and 12 can do this. And this is going to be repeating over and over in your tests and in your exams. So easily, once you master this, you're going to get your distinction or full marks. So let's get into it. Now, the first question that I have written up for us to examine in this episode is this. You are going to come up across with this question, and it's going to be 4 marks. 2 times 2, remember that. That's the mark allocation. So usually when they ask this, they want to see if you are able to understand the source itself and know how to use the source as well. So here's the question. It says, how useful is source A to a historian studying this particular topic? So usually the question says, how useful is the source to a historian studying the topic of whatever topic that may be, maybe the French Revolution or Steve Biko, for example, whatever. How you respond will determine how many marks you get. So usually it says 2 times 2. That means you need to give us 2 responses, 2 marks each. Your first response, or your responses should or must be like this. First and foremost, you need to understand that in this case, you are the historian. So what you need to do is to think and see how useful that source is to you. How useful is the source to you? Obviously, the source is useful because it gives me new information. And that's how you would write your answer. But obviously, you have to state what information is that. That's your first response. First response is, the source is useful to a historian studying history because it gives that historian new information on this topic. Say, for example, it's a picture and you say, that picture shows me what happened. Secondly, your response should be similar to that. Say something else. What else does that source give you in order for you to say, this source is useful? Let me make an example. This is a red pen. I am a teacher. This pen is useful to me because with this pen, I can mark learner scripts. You are a learner. You cannot use this to mark. It is not useful to you. It is useful to me. It's not useful to you. So how useful is a source to you? I think we get the picture, right? Cool. Let's move on to our next question. The next question that I looked at is one that typically arises or appears in your exams or tests. And this is what it says. Study source A and B. Explain how the information in source A supports the evidence in source B. Now, in this case, let me read it again, right? Study source A and source B. Explain how the information in source A supports the evidence in source B. In this example, to give you a bit more light, source A can simply be a text or a comprehension or some words, and then source B can be a picture. Now, these two sources are working hand in hand. The question what is asking of you is that how is this source supporting this source? Now, probably they are talking the same thing. This source is just talking about a particular event. This one is demonstrating that particular event. So your number one responses or your responses would usually be, okay, firstly, before I go on, here you need to acknowledge both sources at the same time in both responses. You need to mention both sources in both responses. Remember, when it says 2 times 2, that means you need to answer twice, right? Many people make the mistakes of saying source A, blah, 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 and then move on to the next one, source B, blah, 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 of which you're not supposed to do that. If you do that, then that means you're gonna lose marks. You need to couple them together. How do you do that? You say source A and source B speak about this topic, and that's how they are supporting each other. Do the same thing again in the next response. Source A and source B also do this, this, and that. Another way of responding to it, I said, source A is a text or a diary or a speech that explains what happened. Full stop. Source B is a picture illustrating what happens, and that's the first 2 marks of yours, right? And the next thing you can easily say, both sources speak about this particular topic. And in that way, you get your 4 marks. I think that's pretty simple, right? Straightforward. Cool. Another question that I have seen learners and students struggling with is the question that always uses the word comment. Now, the word comment in a text, wherever it's used, whether it's the main thing in the question or it's part of the question, is simply requiring of you to use your own opinion. Whenever they say comment, they want your opinion. What do you think? Give a judgment. Do you think it's good, it's bad? Do you think it was supposed to happen or not? Do you think it was whatever? It's asking you to give your responses. So I said, okay, here is the example of the question. Using the information in the source and your own knowledge, comment on the reasons why this and this and this happened. Comment on the reasons why this and this happened. The word comment simply requires you to give your own opinion, as I said. Sometimes even give a judgment, i.e., it was good or it was bad. And then after, using the evidence, mostly by quoting from the source, you add up your answer. So what you do, you comment and say, no, it was a good thing. I think it was a bad thing. It was a good thing, it was a bad thing. And thereafter, you support your evidence. You support your statement with evidence. According to source C, we can see why I believe it was good or it was bad. And that's how you get your 2 marks. I hope that one was useful to you. And with that, we wrap up our very first episode of The Platform. In the next video, I'm going to be coming with more and more and more information. I'm going to be focusing on the paragraph question, and I might simply just couple it with the essay question so that we can pass those and get our distinctions. With the platform, I hope we achieve many great things. One of them is to ensure that you get your distinction or you get your really good mark, whatever pleases you. Thank you for watching this video. Remember to like and share and subscribe. Remember to hit the button there at the bottom and the thumbs up so that other learners who want to see this can see this. It's easier for them to find it. Thank you very much for joining us on The Platform. Peace.